All right, so today we're diving into some pretty dense stuff, actually.
Oh, yeah.
You sent over Microsoft's Q1 2025 earnings call transcript.
Yeah.
And, well, honestly, at first glance, it kind of looks like a snooze fest.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I can see that.
Wall Street jargon and financial statements.
Right.
Who needs it?
But you'd be wrong to dismiss it so quickly because this isn't just about the numbers.
Yeah.
You know,
Okay.
it's about understanding how one of the biggest tech companies on the planet is getting ready for the future.
Okay.
And the roadmap they're laying out is, well, it's really fascinating.
I'm already intrigued.
You think?
So what's the big headline here?
2 words, artificial intelligence.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Microsoft is completely all in on AI,
Uh-huh.
and it's already having a massive effect on their business.
Like how?
So they announced that their AI revenue is on track to hit a $10 billion annual run rate next quarter.
Whoa, wait.
Yeah.
Back up for a second.
If
Annual
you-
run rate.
Yeah.
What is that?
Oh, good catch. So an annual run rate basically projects what a company's revenue would be for a whole year
Okay.
if their current rate of business continues.
Okay.
So them reaching a $10 billion annual run rate next quarter means they're seeing explosive growth in their AI products and services.
Wow.
To the point that if it keeps up at this rate, that segment alone will be bringing in $10 billion per year.
Gotcha. Okay, that makes a lot more sense, and $10 billion is seriously impressive.
It is.
But isn't AI kind of a broad term?
Sure.
What specifically are they doing to make that much money?
Well, what's really interesting is that it's not just one thing.
Okay.
They're not only selling AI tools to other companies, they're also using AI to transform their own products.
Interesting.
So everything from Microsoft 365,
You mean like Word, Excel, PowerPoint?
exactly,
Wow.
to GitHub, which is their code repository platform that developers use,
Mm-hmm.
and even Xbox, believe it or not.
Hold on, wait. AI and Xbox? Now that I got to hear more about...
We'll definitely get into that.
Okay, good.
But first, let's stick with the big picture for a minute.
Okay.
Microsoft's cloud platform, Azure, is already a dominant player, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But this big push towards AI is creating some very interesting challenges for them.
Challenges?
Yeah.
How... So I thought cloud computing was all about being flexible and scalable.
It is.
Yeah.
But the sheer scale of these AI workloads is unlike anything they've ever had to deal with before.
Okay.
Think about it. AI requires massive amounts of data processing, which
Oh.
means you need tons of servers and storage and energy.
Right.
And that demand is putting a real strain on their infrastructure.
So it's like they're building a bigger, faster highway,
Yes,
but all of a sudden all these self-driving cars are clogging it up.
that is a really good analogy.
Okay, good.
And they're spending billions and billions of dollars to expand their data centers and power grids
Wow.
just to keep up with this demand.
So in the short term,
Yeah.
that's got to be impacting their profits.
Yeah, it is. But they're still incredibly profitable. But their operating margin, which is basically how much profit they make on each dollar of revenue, was 47%.
Okay.
Now, that's a slight decrease from last year, but it's still incredibly healthy.
That's good to hear.
Yeah.
So they're walking a bit of a tightrope here, right?
Yeah, you could say that.
Investing in the future, but still keeping Wall Street happy
Exactly.
with those solid profits.
Mm-hmm.
But how are they doing in terms of growth?
Right.
I mean, earlier we were talking about how Azure is facing those growing pains because of the demand for AI.
Yeah.
Did that show up in the numbers at all?
Well, it's a good question, and it's definitely one that a lot of analysts were focused on
I bet.
during the earnings call.
Yeah.
So their cloud business, which includes Azure,
Yeah.
is still growing at a pretty solid rate,
Yeah.
22% year over year.
Okay.
But some analysts were definitely hoping for even faster growth.
So is this maybe a sign that those supply chain issues we talked about earlier are
Yeah.
starting to hurt their ability to compete?
Yeah, it's definitely a possibility. Microsoft did acknowledge that their Azure growth in Q2 is probably going to be a little bit slower,
Okay.
like around 31 to 32%.
Gotcha.
And they specifically said that the supply chain issues are the main reason for that slowdown.
Uh-huh.
So they're having trouble getting the components they need
Okay.
to build out their data centers as quickly as they would like.
So it's like they're trying to scale up fast enough to meet this incredible demand,
Yeah,
but they're hitting those real-world constraints.
it's a tough spot to be in.
It is. Do they have any idea when they might catch up?
Well, if they're saying that they think the supply chain issues will ease up in the second half of the year,
Okay.
and they're investing a lot in new data center capacity,
Uh-huh.
which should start to come online pretty soon.
Okay.
So it might just be a temporary setback, but
Yeah.
it is something to keep an eye on for sure.
It'll be interesting to see how this all plays out.
Yeah.
But let's shift gears for a minute and talk about their other business segments.
Okay.
What about their commercial business?
Right. The stuff they sell to other businesses. How's that doing?
That's a great point. Their commercial business is doing very well.
Okay.
Their commercial bookings, which basically measures their future revenue, were up 30% year over year.
So that's good news?
It's great news. It suggests continued strong growth in that segment.
30%? That's huge.
It is.
What's driving that? Is it just more businesses moving to the cloud, or is there something else going on?
Well, it's a few things, actually.
Right.
Businesses are definitely still embracing cloud solutions, and Microsoft is a major beneficiary of that trend.
Right.
Azure is a very competitive platform.
Okay.
They're winning a lot of deals.
Good for them.
But it's not just Azure.
What else?
They're also seeing a lot of demand for their productivity software.
Like Microsoft 365.
Exactly.
Yep.
And a lot of that growth is being driven by those AI-powered features we talked about before.
Like Copilot?
Yeah, like Copilot.
So businesses are into AI too.
Oh, yeah.
It's not just a fad. Not at all businesses are realizing that AI can help them do things way more efficiently, make better decisions, and be more competitive.
So they're willing to pay for it.
They are.
That really highlights just how broadly AI is impacting the tech landscape.
It does.
But Microsoft isn't just a cloud and software company.
Right.
They've got a big gaming business, too.
That's true.
And I know their new Call of Duty game just launched.
It did.
Did they talk about how that's performing?
Oh, yeah. The gaming division is doing great right now.
Okay.
The Call of Duty launch was a massive success.
Good for them.
They said it was their biggest Call of Duty launch ever.
Wow.
It set records for like day one players and Game Pass subscriber additions.
That's really impressive. So even with all the focus on AI and the cloud, the gaming side of the business is still doing well?
It's doing extremely well, actually.
Huh?
It's actually growing faster than their cloud business right now.
Really?
Yeah. Their gaming revenue is up 43% year over year, driven by that Call of Duty launch and just the general growth of their Game Pass subscription service.
Okay, so what is Game Pass?
It's basically like Netflix for games.
Ah, okay.
You pay a monthly fee,
All right.
and you get access to a huge library of games.
That's a good model.
Yeah, it's working out really well for them.
It is. It's fascinating to see how they've built these like different but interconnected businesses.
It is.
But let's circle back to the AI stuff for a second.
Okay.
We were talking earlier about their investment in OpenAI.
Yes.
And how that relationship might be getting a little bit complicated.
Right.
Did these earnings shed any light on that at all?
They did, actually. Microsoft admitted that their investment in OpenAI is currently generating losses.
Losses. Really? Yeah. I thought OpenAI was doing really well.
They are.
I mean, ChatGPT is everywhere these days.
It is. They are doing well, but they're also spending a ton of money on research and development. And those expenses are currently bigger than their revenue.
Okay, that makes sense. So is this like a bad investment for Microsoft?
Well, it's tough to say.
Yeah.
Everyone seems to think that OpenAI is the future of AI.
Right.
But if they're not making money,
yeah,
it's too early to tell.
Yeah.
I think Microsoft is playing a long game here. You know, they see OpenAI as a very important strategic partner in their overall vision for AI.
Okay.
And they seem fine with taking some short-term losses.
Okay.
To build that long-term relationship.
So they're essentially betting that OpenAI will become profitable eventually.
Yeah. That's basically it. It's a pretty big gamble.
It is. It is. But, you know, looking at all this from a bigger picture perspective, I'm curious, like, what does all of this mean for the average person?
Okay.
Is this just corporate maneuvering, or is it actually going to affect people's lives?
That is the million-dollar question.
It is.
And honestly, it's one that we're all still trying to figure out.
Yeah.
But I think the one thing that's clear from these earnings is that AI is not just some futuristic concept anymore.
Right.
It's here. It's real. And it's starting to have a real impact on businesses and consumers.
You're right. It's not just hype anymore.
Yep.
You're seeing AI being integrated into so many everyday products and services.
It is.
It's already changing the way we work, the games we play. Even healthcare is getting an AI makeover.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's wild. But where else do you see this ripple effect happening?
Honestly, it's kind of hard to think of an industry that won't be touched by AI in some way.
Really?
I mean, education, transportation, entertainment, manufacturing.
Wow.
Even things like agriculture and urban planning are being transformed.
So this is like a paradigm shift.
It really is.
Okay, well, that sounds both exciting and a little bit terrifying at the same time. It's like we're standing on the edge of this whole new world, but we don't have a map.
That's a great analogy.
Thanks.
And like any uncharted territory,
Yeah.
there are going to be amazing opportunities and serious challenges.
All right, so let's talk about the challenges then.
Sure.
What are some of the potential downsides of this AI revolution that we should be thinking about?
Well, one of the biggest ones is job displacement.
Okay.
As AI gets more sophisticated, it'll be able to automate tasks that humans do now, and that means some jobs will probably become obsolete.
Okay, yeah, that's the scary part.
Yeah.
Are we all going to be replaced by robots?
I wouldn't say it's quite that dramatic.
Okay.
I don't think it's about replacing humans entirely.
Okay.
It's more about changing the nature of work.
Okay.
Some jobs will disappear, yes.
Yeah.
But new ones will emerge, and the jobs that are left will probably need a different set of skills.
So what advice would you give to our listeners who are thinking,
Yeah.
okay, how do I make sure that my job isn't the one that gets automated?
That's a good question. Focus on developing skills that are going to be in demand in this new AI-powered world.
Like what?
Things like critical thinking,
Okay.
problem solving, creativity. These are all uniquely human skills.
Yeah.
And they're going to become even more valuable as AI takes over those more routine tasks.
That makes sense. It's about learning to work alongside AI.
Exactly.
Not trying to compete with it.
Right.
But what about the bigger societal implications? You know, I've heard some people raising concerns about AI bias, data privacy, even the possibility of AI becoming dangerous or uncontrollable.
Yeah, those are all totally valid concerns, and they're things we need to be talking about right now as a society.
We do.
We need to make sure that AI is developed and used responsibly and ethically.
Right.
And in a way that benefits all of humanity.
I like that.
That's why it's so important for everyone to be informed and involved in these conversations.
Absolutely. So if our listener is walking away from this first part of our deep dive with one key thought in their head, what should it be?
I think the main takeaway here is that we're living through a really transformative moment in history.
We are.
The AI revolution is already happening. It's only going to accelerate from here, and it's going to change the way we live, work, and interact with everything around us.
So basically, buckle up. Things are about to get interesting.
Exactly. And the more we understand about AI, the better prepared we'll be to handle all the changes and opportunities that are coming.
Well, I feel like I've already learned a ton today.
Me too.
Thank you so much for guiding us through this so far.
Oh, it's my pleasure. And remember, this is just the beginning.
It is.
Keep exploring, keep learning, and keep asking questions.
Yeah.
This is a journey we're all on together.
That's a good way to put it. Okay, so we've got these Microsoft financial reports here.
Right.
Earnings, press release, slide deck, the whole shebang. Time to really get into it and see what these numbers tell us about Microsoft's business.
Exactly. We've talked about their AI strategy, but now let's see how that's actually playing out in their financials.
Okay.
And remember, these numbers cover their fiscal Q1 2025, which ended September 30th.
So pretty recent.
Yeah, very recent performance.
Okay, so give it to me. What are the key takeaways here?
All right, so the big picture is that Microsoft had another strong quarter overall.
Okay, that's good.
Their revenue was $65.6 billion.
Whoa.
Which is a 16% increase compared to last year.
Okay.
And their earnings per share came in at $3.30, which is a 10% increase.
Okay, so they're definitely making money.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
But earlier, we were talking about how they're spending billions of dollars on AI infrastructure.
Right.
So shouldn't that be cutting into their profits?
Well, it is having an impact.
Okay.
But they're still incredibly profitable.
Okay, good.
Their operating margin, which is basically how much profit they make on each dollar of revenue, was 47%.
Okay.
That's a slight decrease from last year, but still very healthy by any standard.
So it's like they're walking this tightrope.
Yeah.
Investing heavily in the future while still keeping Wall Street happy with these solid profits.
Exactly.
But are they growing fast enough?
Good question.
We were talking earlier about how Azure is facing those growing pains because of the demand for AI. So did that show up in the numbers?
Yeah, it's a good question, and it's something that a lot of analysts were focused on during that earnings call.
Makes sense.
Their cloud business, which includes Azure, is still growing at a good rate.
Okay.
22% year over year.
Okay.
But some analysts were hoping for more.
Okay.
They wanted to see faster growth.
So is this a sign that those supply chain issues we were talking about are starting to hurt them?
Yeah, it's possible.
Okay.
Microsoft did say that they expect their Azure growth in Q2 to be a little bit slower.
How much slower?
Like around 31 to 32%.
Okay.
And they said that the supply chain challenges are the main reason.
So they can't get the stuff they need?
Yeah, they're having trouble getting the parts they need to build out those data centers as quickly as they'd like.
So they're trying to scale up, but they're hitting those real-world limitations.
It's a tough situation.
It is. Do they have any idea when they think they'll catch up?
They said they expect these supply chain issues to ease up in the second half of the year.
Okay.
They're putting a lot of money into new data center capacity. And that should start coming online soon.
Okay.
So it might just be a temporary thing, but it's definitely something to watch.
For sure. It'll be interesting to see what happens.
Yeah.
But let's switch gears again for a minute.
Okay.
Let's talk about their other business segments.
Sure.
How about their commercial business?
Right.
So that's the stuff they sell to other businesses, right?
Exactly.
How's that part doing?
Their commercial business is actually doing great.
Okay, good.
Their commercial bookings, which is basically a measure of future revenue, were up 30% year over year.
Okay. So that means...
That means things are looking really good for that part of the business.
30%? That's huge.
It is.
What's driving that?
Well, it's a few things.
Like what?
Businesses are definitely moving to the cloud. And Microsoft is a big winner there. Azure is a very strong platform. They're winning a lot of new customers.
Good.
But it's not just Azure.
Oh, okay. What else?
They're also seeing a lot of demand for their productivity software.
Oh, like Microsoft 365.
Exactly. Things like Word and Excel and PowerPoint.
Gotcha.
And a lot of that growth is because of those AI features we talked about.
You mean like Copilot?
Yeah, like Copilot.
So it sounds like businesses are really embracing AI.
They are.
It's not just for consumers anymore.
No businesses are seeing how AI can make them more efficient, help them make better decisions,
right,
and ultimately be more competitive.
So they're willing to invest in it.
They are.
It's pretty incredible how much AI is impacting everything.
It is.
But Microsoft isn't just a cloud and software company.
Right.
They've got a big gaming business, too.
They do.
And I know their new Call of Duty game just came out. Did they talk about how that's doing?
They did. The gaming division is on fire right now.
Really?
That Call of Duty launch was huge. They said it was their biggest Call of Duty launch ever.
That's impressive.
It set records for day one players and Game Pass subscriber additions.
So even with all the focus on AI and the cloud,
right,
the gaming side is doing really well.
It's doing fantastic.
It's interesting how they've managed to build all these separate but connected businesses.
It is.
But let's get back to the AI side of things for a minute.
Okay.
We were talking before about their investment in OpenAI and how that relationship might be getting a little tricky.
Right.
Did the earnings call give us any insights into that?
It did, actually. Microsoft said that their investment in OpenAI is currently losing money.
Losing money, really?
Yeah.
I thought OpenAI was doing so well.
They are doing well.
ChatGPT is everywhere you look.
It is, and they're a successful company, but they're spending a lot of money on research and development.
Okay.
And right now, those costs are exceeding their revenue.
Okay. That makes sense.
Sure.
But is that a bad investment for Microsoft then?
It's hard to say for sure.
Yeah.
A lot of people think OpenAI is the future of AI.
Right.
But if they're not profitable yet, I think Microsoft is thinking long term here.
Okay.
They see OpenAI as a really important partner for their overall AI strategy.
Okay.
And they seem willing to accept some losses now.
To build that relationship.
Exactly. It's a big bet.
It is a gamble, for sure. But, stepping back and looking at the bigger picture, what does all this mean for the average person?
That's a great question.
Is this all just corporate stuff?
Right.
Or is it actually going to affect people's lives?
That is the big question, isn't it? And honestly, it's one that we're all trying to figure out.
Yeah.
But I think what's clear from these earnings is that AI is not some far-off futuristic thing anymore.
It's here now.
It's here. It's happening, and it's starting to have a real impact on all of us.
You're absolutely right. It's not just hype.
Nope.
We're seeing AI being used in all sorts of everyday products and services.
We are.
It's changing how we work, how we play. Even healthcare is getting an AI makeover.
Absolutely.
It's wild.
Yeah.
But where else do you see this going?
Honestly, it's hard to think of an industry that won't be affected by AI.
Really?
Education, transportation, entertainment, manufacturing. Even things like agriculture and urban planning are being transformed.
So this is a big deal.
This is a huge shift.
Okay, well, that's exciting and kind of scary at the same time.
It is.
It's like we're at the edge of this whole new world, but we don't really know what to expect.
Yeah, we don't have a map.
And like with any uncharted territory,
right,
there are going to be both amazing opportunities and some big challenges.
Definitely.
So let's talk about those challenges then.
Yeah.
What are some of the downsides of this AI revolution that we should be thinking about?
One of the biggest ones is job displacement.
Okay. Yeah, that's the one everyone's worried about.
As AI gets smarter, it'll be able to do more of the jobs that humans do now.
Right.
And that means some jobs will probably disappear.
So are we all going to be replaced by robots?
I don't think it'll be that dramatic.
Okay, good.
It's not about replacing humans completely.
Right.
It's more about changing the type of work that we do.
Okay.
Some jobs will go away, yes.
Yeah.
But new jobs will be created, and the jobs that stay will need different skills.
So what's your advice for our listeners who are worried about their jobs being automated?
Learn new skills.
Like what kind of skills?
Focus on the things that AI can't do as well as humans.
Okay.
Things like critical thinking, problem solving, creativity.
Those are all really human skills.
Exactly. And those are the skills that will become even more important as AI takes over those more routine tasks.
So it's about learning to work with AI.
Yes.
Not against it.
Exactly.
But what about the bigger societal impacts?
Right.
Like AI bias or data privacy, even the possibility of AI becoming dangerous.
Those are all really important concerns, and we need to be having those conversations as a society.
We do.
We need to make sure that AI is developed and used ethically and responsibly.
For the benefit of everyone.
Exactly. That's why it's so important for everyone to be informed and to be a part of this conversation.
All right, so we've covered a lot.
We have.
Microsoft's AI strategy, the financial side of things, that booming gaming business, and of course the whole OpenAI situation.
A lot to think about.
It is. So let's shift gears a little.
Okay.
From analysis to speculation.
Sounds good.
That's the big takeaway here.
I think what we can't ignore is that AI isn't some far-off futuristic thing anymore.
It's here now.
It's happening all around us.
Yeah, we've seen how it's changing the way we work, the games we play, even healthcare.
It's everywhere.
But where else do you see this going?
Honestly, it's hard to think of an industry that won't be affected by AI.
Really?
I mean, education, transportation, entertainment, manufacturing, even things like agriculture and urban planning are being transformed.
So this is like a whole new world.
It is. It's a paradigm shift.
Okay, well, that's exciting, but also a little scary.
It is. It's like we're standing on the edge of something brand new.
Yeah.
But we don't have a map.
And like any uncharted territory, there are going to be incredible opportunities.
Absolutely.
And some serious challenges.
For sure.
So what are some of those challenges?
Well, one of the biggest ones is job displacement.
Yeah, that's the one everyone's worried about.
As AI gets more sophisticated, it's going to be able to automate tasks that humans do now.
Right.
And that means some jobs are going to disappear.
Okay, so are we all going to be replaced by robots?
I don't think it'll be that dramatic.
Okay.
It's not about replacing humans entirely.
Okay.
It's more about changing the way we work.
Okay.
Some jobs will go away, yes.
Yeah.
But new jobs will be created, and the jobs that stay will require different skills.
So if you're listening to this and you're thinking, how do I make sure my job isn't the one that gets automated?
That's the question everyone's asking.
It is. What should people be doing?
Focus on developing the skills that AI can't replicate.
Okay, so like what were...
Things like critical thinking, problem solving, creativity.
Yeah.
Those are all very human skills.
They are.
And they're going to become even more valuable as AI takes over those more routine tasks.
So we need to learn to work with AI, not against it.
Right.
But what about the broader societal impacts?
Yeah.
Things like AI bias,
right,
data privacy, even the possibility of AI becoming dangerous or uncontrollable.
Those are all valid concerns, and they're things we need to be thinking about very carefully as a society.
We do.
We need to ensure that AI is developed and used ethically and responsibly.
And for the benefit of everyone.
Exactly. That's why it's so important for everyone to be informed and engaged in this conversation.
Absolutely. So if our listener takes away one thing from this whole deep dive, what should it be?
I think the most important message is that we're living through a truly transformative moment in history.
We are.
The AI revolution is already happening, and it's only going to get bigger from here. It's going to change everything about the way we live and work and interact with the world.
So buckle up, basically.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the more we understand about AI, the better prepared we'll be to handle all the changes that are coming.
Well, I feel like I've learned a ton today. Thanks for walking us through this.
It was my pleasure. And remember, this is just the beginning.
It is.
Keep learning, keep exploring, and keep asking those questions. It's a journey we're all on together.
Well said. And that's it for this episode of The Deep Dive. If you've got a research paper, an article that blew your mind, or just a question you want answered, send it our way and we'll dive in together. Until next time, stay curious.